So Rebecca, tell me a bit about your career so far.
Well, I started to work at Food Basics in high school, and it was really great. And then I worked as a receptionist in a dental office, and that was also really, really great. And now I'm working part-time at Milestone serving since I've been in university. So, yeah, you know. And, well, now I'm just looking for a job since, you know, I'm almost done school, and I don't really care what company it is. I just want something PR related, you know, to get out of the service industry. Can't take working with people.
Okay, so I'm interested in some of the responsibilities you had in the dentist's office. Tell me what you did.
Well, I basically just filed papers and answered the phone. Easy stuff, you know, monkey work.
Okay, since Food Basics is definitely customer service related, give me an example of a time when you went above and beyond for a customer and used your customer service skills to make that customer extremely happy.
That's a good question.
It can be any time, really.
I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll move on. So throughout your career so far, tell me about what you think your biggest strength is, or perhaps what your managers have given you positive feedback on.
Great customer service.
And what does great customer service mean to you?
You know, just being there for the customer, always giving them a smile. You know, customer's always right.
Okay, well everyone has an area of opportunity or something they feel like they can improve on. What do you think yours is?
Well, I don't know, maybe it's that sometimes I get too good at customer service, like too much, you know?
All right, well thanks Rebecca. We'll be in contact if we need anything from you. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I do actually. How much money can I expect to make in this position?
We don't disclose that information right away, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, my apologies.
Okay, bye Rebecca. Go to school, get a secure job, and get a mortgage. This is the lifestyle that our parents grew up and knew how to live. They told us the same thing, that we could get any job we wanted and be whoever we wanted to be. What our parents didn't realize is that we were entering a completely different job market, one that is digitized and has a job that 3 people used to do, 1 person is doing now. So that means that we have to be able to stand out more than ever before. How do we go into an interview and stand out and really secure that job? Well, you have to know the art of interviewing. You need to know every single answer to every question and answer it with confidence. As we just saw, those were some really bad interviews, obviously a little bit exaggerated. However, these are all things that I've personally heard as a retail manager in interviews that I've conducted. Today we will give you the opportunity and insight into some industry experts and what they say about interviewing. As well, since we know there are some journalists out there, we wanted to give you some tips from a professional journalist on tips he had when it comes to interviewing to get the story right.
Well, I look over my resume and I make sure that when I explain my job, my past experiences, that I do it in order. And also I try to memorize the points that I put in my resume so that I can elaborate on that next.
Think about questions that they would possibly ask and just answer those questions in my head over and over.
Well, I usually research the company, whoever I'm going for the job for, to just kind of get background information on them, their values, mission, vision, just know about them. So if they ask me anything about them, it's not a surprise and I look like I'm knowledgeable.
I think, what's your biggest weakness?
I think the trickiest question I think you can ask in general would be, what is your weakness? Because that's kind of awkward to answer.
Anticipating the kinds of questions you will be asked will only help you. You literally need to practice for an interview, especially if you're going into a profession that you've never explored before. You can obviously use the interview to find some common questions related to your field, but reach out to professors or industry experts and ask them what kinds of questions you can expect to answer. Industry-specific questions are very important, and you need to know them before you go into an interview.
The first thing that I look for when I'm interviewing someone with regards to job skills would definitely be something in the field, either directly related. So if we give an example, for us it's retail. We're a high volume, high traffic, commission-based company. So they either need to come from another luxury brand so they understand our culture and the type of clientele we have, understand how to multitask and handle more than one client. They need to understand how each client needs to be treated, which is very different. You know, if we were to speak about other retailers such as Zara or H&M, where it's more about just cleaning. So for job skill, it's being able to handle and work with more than one client, understanding their needs, and being able to service both of them the exact same way at the exact same time. With regards to traits, I mean, I think it sort of still falls in the line of the job skill, but if they don't have direct retail experience, then they need to be in something of customer service oriented, but again, high volume. So again, handling demands, I guess would be the best word, and multiple demands for that matter, and being able to work under pressure diligently and thoroughly, and being very organized, understanding the sense of urgency, you know, and really just being able to complete the job as quickly as possible, but you know, as best as possible. A common mistake that a lot of interviewers make today is really just asking questions directly related to selling or styling or fashion or whatever it is, whatever, you know, their profession is. Behavioral questions really give you an indication of how they're going to work with the team, how they're going to work under pressure, you know, if they are solution oriented or if they're excuse oriented, you know, how hard they're going to be willing to work. And I think that you can uncover a lot by asking these questions that you cannot uncover when you're asking simple, basic questions that don't relate to behavioral pieces. And a perfect example is someone who's got a great resume who can answer really well to basic questions, but when you ask a behavioral question, you know, you tend to find out if they've had conflict with employees, you know, and why. And that again gives you a good indication of who they are and how they work in a workplace. I think asking them the question of what do you dislike about selling is something that they struggle with the most because they almost don't know what to say. And again, it's also about finding out how honest a person can be with you. So you can always tell by where they're looking or their reactions or their body movement. Definitely gives you an indication of if they're uncomfortable, and again can also show you whether or not they are solution oriented. So that's one. I think another one is how do you connect with people, because not just women in general. I think that's a good question for anyone in any profession, because at the end of the day, people that make business or the most successful people are successful because of the connections they've made with individuals, not because of what they sold to them. You know, people don't leave jobs, they leave people. So I think when you ask someone how they connect, that's definitely challenging for them if they naturally don't know how to connect to someone. Well, there's definitely a few indicators that come into that. So obviously if they do well in the interview, that's one. You know, if they've been able to answer the behavioral questions, not everybody is perfect and you have to understand that. So you should never be going into an interview looking for the perfect candidate, because you will never find it. You're not perfect, I'm not perfect. But it's being able to see someone's true colors. And if I can feel that they've been honest, and you can tell, again, you know, with their body movement, with their posture, with their answers, with their confidence, that's definitely a piece that allows me, you know, to be a piece for hiring them. And then lastly is going to be, you know, again, how are they going to work for me when it's slow? How are they going to work when it's busy? You know, are they going to be that team player, that well-renowned, that all-around fantastic employee who's not just good at selling, but will clean if she has to, will get down on the floor if she has to, will stay late or come in early if she has to. But that has to come naturally. And those are the ones that, you know, really, for me, are the ones that I end up hiring.
One of the most important parts about interviews is the behavioral-based interview questions. Managers want to be able to get inside your head. Who are you really? Behavioral-based interview questions give answers that no industry-specific question could. Some common examples of behavioral-based interview questions are, give me an example of a time you broke a policy and procedure and what was the outcome? Do you prefer to work independently or in teams? Give me an example of a time when you did not agree with a supervisor and how did you handle the situation? Describe a situation when you negotiated with others in order to reach an agreement. Tell me about a time you used judgment to make a tough decision in your previous job. And the list goes on and on. As you can see, these are very specific questions, and it's good to think of recent situations, accomplishments, and challenges you've had in your career so far in order to answer any of these questions that you might get in an interview. So, behavioral-based interview questions are so important. So study up on yourself very well. Know who you are and be able to answer these questions effectively. It really is the best way to impress a manager.
I think the best answer I could have given was probably just elaborate on my experience serving, because I've been serving like forever. And so once they see that I have like good communication with customers and people, they kind of tend to hire me because I'm good at talking to them. So.
For all you journalism students out there, this is a great point to listen up. We asked Toronto Star journalist Joe Warmington about some of the best ways to interview someone for the news media. This is what he said. What are some journalistic interviewing tips that you've learned throughout your career? Joe Warmington said, the more prepared you are, the better. It's a fast-moving business. Be alert and aware. Listen to what they're saying. Ask follow-up questions, and don't ask questions that could lead to yes or no answers. It's the answers and using conventional language to get truth in quotes. What do you do in an interview when you don't get what you're looking for? Or what do you do when you know there's potentially more information there, but the interviewee isn't opening up to you? Joe Warmington said it's all emailing now. They can choose when or if they want to reply and always have good questions. Get it on record and use proper sources. It's all gut feeling and reaction on things. Have it on record that you approach someone on story if they didn't confirm or deny a claim. Is there a back pocket question or phrase you use to get out of an awkward situation with the interviewee? Joe Warmington said, it's not personal. You're always in awkward situations because you want to know the facts. Be open and honest and straightforward with people. Report what they're saying and take it for what it is.
So Rebecca, tell me a bit about your career so far.
Well, I'm a student at the University of Guelph, and I've had experience across different customer service and administrative sectors. I've worked at Food Basics, and I learned how to react to customer complaints in a timely manner, as well as help set up store displays, and I also helped implement a new training program for the employees. I then moved on to being a receptionist at a dental office towards the end of my high school and beginning of the university. This job was great because I got to improve my computer skills, customer relations, and also, my understanding of the universal administration practices. It was also a different environment because I got to be more professional in the office environment, which helped me prepare for my future endeavors. Finally, I then moved on to Milestones, and it was an ideal job to have throughout university, giving me a lot of opportunity for homework during the week. And I learned so much at Milestones, from upselling food to managing 15 tables at once, and it was always hectic but also very rewarding. I also really made a conscious effort to always make my customers really happy by listening to what they were looking for out of a meal and suggesting the right match. I always feel like I've always tried to go above and beyond to make them happy, so that's my career in a nutshell.
Okay, great. Sounds like you've learned a lot. Since you've been involved in a lot of customer service related jobs, give me an example of a time that you went above and beyond for a customer and what was the outcome?
Well, the first one I can think of is it was at Milestones, and there was a time when a man had booked a party for about 10 for a surprise birthday party. And when he got there, I could tell he was really flustered, so I asked him what was wrong. He ended up forgetting the cake for the party, and he was really upset. And I felt really bad, so I sent a hostess down to the streets of Loblaws to get a cake. And he was so happy that he almost cried. So it made me feel really good to go above and beyond and make sure his night went perfectly.
Wow, that's great. There's nothing worse than forgetting something important like that for a special event. So what would you say your biggest strength is?
Well, I think I can really pay attention to detail, whether it's through using Microsoft Excel and creating a budget, or planning an event and making sure everything is perfect. I really need to ensure all the details are covered. I've had the chance to practice these skills through all the different places I've worked, so I can successfully function throughout different jobs. And Well, I think in the end, paying attention to detail will prevent a lot of problems, such as sending an email to your boss with a typo or forgetting something for your event.
Okay, great. Definitely an important skill to have. What about an area of opportunity or something you feel like you can improve on?
Something I can improve on. Well, I know sometimes I can lose patience with my coworkers, and I've worked in a fast-paced manner, and I like to get the job done right away. And then I go back and fix any errors and review my work. I really had a hard time working with people who go slower and do bit by bit. However, I've tried to start being more patient because I know people work at a different pace. And in order to keep myself from being frustrated by them, I just try to preoccupy myself with other projects. And now check on them while, they're working on something later, giving them their space and preventing myself from being more frustrated.
Okay, good. Good to see that you're working on it. Well, Rebecca, thank you so much for your time today. Do you have any questions for me?
I do actually. What's the company culture, and why do you feel that this company is best suited for you?
Great question. Well, the company is very laissez-faire. We like to give our employees free reign and independence. There is definitely a lot of teamwork and idea collaboration, and I feel like I fit well with this company because I don't like being micromanaged, and this company gives me the opportunity to work on my own accord, while still, of course, making deadlines. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. I really look forward to being in contact. When can I expect to hear from you?
By the end of the week, Rebecca. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you. And that's how it's done.